All right, cool. Thank you, OBS, for powering through this. It is really working hard today, trying to get this whole production going, having a little bit of struggle at times. But nonetheless, we are back with the second semifinals match, this one between afterMath and the Behemoth Abusers. And Ektar, I kind of want to very quickly draw the parallels. I think what we saw from Nugify and Knight in the first two series were just strategic dominance. They just had the answer. In series number one that afterMath was in, we saw complete control dominance. So I'm very curious to see how this match compares to our previous semifinal match.
Yeah, and I think in our first match with Behemoth Abusers, they just kind of outskilled their opponents at being better at the video game. It wasn't a compositional thing. I think their opponents had all the tools. Theory and Albino were just stronger at battle aces than them. And I think that'll be a little bit tougher of a call to do here.
All right, players have given me the ready, so I'm going to go ahead and pop us into game number one of this semifinals. Second semifinals in the bottom left corner, representing Team AM. It is, well, AM afterMath by Theory and Albino.
And in the top right, we have Shade and Armiria for the Behemoth Abusers. And let me go ahead and fix the stream title real bit, because I got them backwards.
I appreciate you updating the stream title for me. Because I have, thankfully, not too many things to switch around between matches. I can get it done in about a minute, but it still takes a little bit of time.
Anything to take some of that off of your plate, as Theory and Albino are just running at their opponents right now, doing that kind of split 1v1 style, but they are going to coalesce for a push potential through this choke that we normally see being used to hold the third.
Yeah, I mean, they can establish a position here and see if they can make anything happen in this location.
It's true. We do have double Guardian Shield coming out from the Behemoth Abusers as they're going into immediate tech. Shade going for the Dragonflies and Armiria for the Bombers, as Team afterMath are just really trying to pin their opponents down.
afterMath does have that position on lock for now, and now they're thirds up. We'll see if there's a dive into the double Guardian Shield. It doesn't seem like that's the case right now, as the Knight Scorpion combination from the Behemoth Abusers move out towards the third base. This is where Albino and Theory have gained a lot of values, just trying to get incremental pokings here and there, but good response. Keep everybody really, really safe and see what can happen from here.
Yeah, there is plenty of anti-air available, so I'm not expecting these Dragonflies to necessarily get a lot of value. In fact, we don't even see any get produced. We go immediately into that Tier 3 Starforge with the Locust Advanced Destroyer composition coming out, and the similarly going to Tier 3 for Armiria with the Advanced Mortar Assault Bot. Albino and Theory have not teched. They have produced units, and they're looking to use them on the third.
Yep, Mortar's not going to be great against the Knights, but the Blinks do very well at just holding the position. Look at this positional play, though. This is gross right here. Guardian Shield slowing the rate of damage down, requiring the Mortars to 3-shot instead of 1. That is a significant increase. But nonetheless, it is
totally
still working.
Uncontested like this, doing criminal amounts of damage. If you're subscribed to either 7thAce or I, or have a couple of channel points laying around, spam those Tonks emote in the chat, because good golly are these mortars doing work.
Yep, and they're gone. Look at that, 20 or so, 15-ish locusts out onto the map now.
And a whole mess of assault bots coming in the top side.
Yeah, this is a big push with advanced mortars plus locusts. There's not great anti-air at the Foundry level for afterMath here.
They do have heavy hunters, which don't actually do that amazingly against locusts. And we see a big flyby into the main. Only get a couple of workers, and instead they're going to turn around and focus some of the units that are there before turning their attention back to the resources, as this push is going to destroy the third, it looks like.
Yeah, this is working out really well for the Behemoth Abusers. They went ahead and started cutting off the reinforcement line between the main and the third. Now a couple assault bots just going to freely take out this top base as Theory has teched into the Behemoths, which there is no great answer for unless Shade pumps out some advanced destroyers. So there they are.
Big flank coming around, and the mortars are getting surrounded, not getting focused down too quickly, but at the same time the Behemoths take very negligible damage from the advanced mortars. They're gonna get mopped up a little bit by the assault bot coming in, and we now have advanced destroyers to work on those big units as the Locusts have nothing threatening them in the sky right now.
Shade is going huge with these Locusts this game. That is game number 1, going over to the Behemoth abusers. They sure put some abuse onto the Behemoths.
Yeah, that was an unbelievably strong push coming out. With their earlier tech advantage, while Theory stayed on to quick 3 bases, they didn't have the counter tech available in time to stop it.
Do I have the wrong player? I do. My bad. Let me fix that. Fixed. All of my tools are very fast to fix. I love this. I love production. Production's so much fun.
No, shout out to the developer of the casting tool that we're using right now. It makes it so easy to do things like adjust the player names, swap which team is on which side, and all of that good stuff.
Wow, that would be quite good. Imagine sinking 400 hours of your life into producing stuff viewed by a couple hundred people. But you know what? It's worth it. It feels so much fun. Actually, NGS stuff has been seen by thousands. That's actually quite cool.
Yeah, all right, we got all the players in, and I think we're ready to get into game 2.
All right. Let's go ahead and get started in game number 2. Pop over to the in-game scene. Check the top. Look, it's fixed. Fix my only blunder of the night. Got it. Let's see any changes to the... I wish I was paying more attention to see what the...
We do have a big change, and that is the double expand from Shade and Amiria versus the one base blink all-in.
They're going double butterfly into this. They went double one base butterfly to punish.
Awesome.
There it goes. Double one base butterfly. This is going to be a nasty push, unholdable at the natural expansion.
I don't know if they can hold in the main even.
Even if they can hold in the main, and I think they can with double G shield, we'll slowly poke the butterflies down. They can then just transition into bases, and they're in a great spot.
Yeah, so we see the response from Shade and Armeria with the Heavy Hunter Flak Turret, both very good anti-air combatants. Certainly going to take a lot of damage before these butterflies come out. I almost wonder if you don't even say heck the natural and just go for an all-in on the core.
That would be very interesting. Actually, with the Blink Hunters, or with the Blinks tanking, you totally could do that. Just tank it through with the Blinks by being closer to the cores, and then target it down with 10. It's shared damage, so it might just work. 5 butterflies out, 4 each, now going up to 6.
They're going to the core.
They're headed towards the
they're
core.
Hard all-in on this.
This is
They win the
fully
game
all-in.
or they lose the game in the next 20 seconds.
Well, here it is. Core, 75%. Going down the below 50, below 25, and the butterfly cheese is successful.
It's just that simple.
It's just that easy to tie up a series 1-1.
Butterfly in the sky. They went twice as high to go 1-1 in the series.
That's so funny. It's totally beatable too. If Shade and Armeria take the 2 seconds during the loading to see that it was double butterfly, bases have shared health, so yeah, it's...
Yeah, the core has shared health in 2v2.
So it kills both of them.
That's so fun.
Oh, man.
That's the kind of play that you'll see on the ladder when you run into the same opponent a couple of times and you lose to, like, their immediate expand into push build, like we saw from Shade and Armeria previously. So Team Aftermath are just like, we're going to wait 1 second, verify their opponents do double expand, and then double Starforge, slam it down, and just right-click the core.
No, that was just...
That is as build order loss as you can get in this game.
I think in any game functionally. I mean, that was... That's so... I had a thing to mention about that. I was going to say, we don't use your base Starforge unit that much. Maybe that's what we should do. Oh, that's so funny. That won't work twice, by the way, so we're going to see some real games after that. I'm also keeping a statistics document, so after this whole thing's done, I will publish a document with every composition used and every game length and all of that for every team. So, you know, I like to... I don't know, I'm going all out for this, because it's lots of fun.
All away.
Alright, this time we did see one immediate expand from Armeria. Shade held until the double expand came down from afterMath, so respecting the cheese in this game. So we are going to see a bit longer of a game than the previous one. Although I'm glad we did get to see one, like... We were teasing Team Gouda about their build being cheese. Last game was legitimately cheese.
It was economic cheese, though, against the functional equivalent of double six pool.
Yeah.
So, this is the first time we've seen afterMath not on double blink. They're on Night Scorp and Night G Shield. So it's them without the anti-air. So theoretically, Shade and Armeria could have done it if they had, you know, double butterfly.
Yeah. I think it's funny. Both teams between the two of them have Night Scorpion as their sort of tier 1 units. Which I've seen a fair bit of Scorpions on the 2v2 ladder. I don't see all that much Night.
Knights are more and more popular. Oh my goodness. They were just camping the third, and they get a free kill for the cost of one Knight and a little bit of pursuit damage.
Yeah, but absolutely worth it. Like, trading out matter for energy, as we said, almost always worth it. You'd have to lose a pretty incredible amount of matter to make that kind of trade not worth it. Yeah. We have one airship, one butterfly, and a dream coming out from Theory.
Perfect. It's the one of everything composition. How do you counter it?
You don't. You can't counter one of everything. We got 4 dragonflies in this guy coming out from Shade, however, so I think they definitely win that versus the airship. They have air superiority available. Important to note, Armeria never retook this third. They're going straight on to tier 3 boundaries. They want to make a counter push here, as Shade is going to lose their base as well. 4th base down from Theory, so this is going to be a very dedicated push coming out from the Behemoth abusers, and they need to find damage with it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, but the Dragonflies just do not have a matchup into the airships. Airships are well, they're the only anti-air option, but they are the anti-air option at the Starforge level. So
that is advanced mortars coming out.
Yep, it is. I'll tell you what, these tier 3 pushes have really been a thing in this beta, mainly because of the Guardian Shield. And for all the opinions on Guardian Shield, I do like seeing these tier 3 units.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting. Shade went on to tier 3 as well, but because they took that base, they're on it quite a bit later. Gotta have access to the Advanced Destroyer and Locust combination again. I don't know that they want to go into Locust against the airship, though, so they might just want to use the big long range to the Advanced Destroyer, but this, dedicated push that I talked about happening, ooh, a lot of damage there. Coming up pretty slow, and that gives a lot of time for these bases to improve value, so I think things are pretty dire for Shade and Armeria at this point.
Yeah, their composition is not fast, and that's a really important thing to note, is that they're just not going to get a lot of damage out quickly. They do have a Locust transition, though. That's what won them game number 1, and they're going to dive over all of these mortars and get a ton of damage in, starting right there. However, there is a proper response. We do have heavy hunters. We do have airships out.
I think this many Locusts might beat the airships in mono-a-mono combat. As we're going to go for a little bit of a flyby onto the 4th here.
Yeah, the position is relatively stalemated here. Theory's now going to take everything, move up to the top. Locust will, I believe they win this matchup, but they're going to target down the base. They will no longer win this matchup in the air. Let's see. No, I think, no, they lose big time
Every
from here.
single Locust goes down, and Theory immediately re-expands. Albino expanding just a beat later, and looking at the bandwidth counts, Theory is maxed out, Albino's chasing around his tail, and Shade and Armeria both below 100, now both below 70, as the splash is doing ruinous damage to the Behemoth abusers.
Yeah, I don't think the bases were worth it for their only major advantage, and now with the push coming through, there is no stopping this. It looks like afterMath, Theory, and Albino are going to be pushing up and taking it the second game. Or third
They
game.
are. Theory dropped down 130 supply, 150 supply in that push. The assault bots might even be the bigger advantage that Shade and Armeria has. The lack of splash damage from their opponents. Pretty big deficiency that the Behemoth abusers were able to capitalize on as they lose their third, however.
Yeah, at this position, it is not looking tenable for a victory, and they agree. afterMath is going to pick up a second game in this best of 5.
Cutters set.
Yeah, hi, Heavy Hunter.
Yeah, Shade and Armeria definitely making plays in that third game, just weren't quite able to translate their wins into advantage. They brought like the base count sort of back to parity, but they lost so many units for it that I think they were still behind.
You are entirely correct.
Ooh, say it again.
You are entirely correct with that statement that they lost too much to bring those bases back and couldn't make anything happen out of it. Now, Airship's 2-shot Locust, fun fact, and Locust like 15-shot, even with their little blinky lasers and whatnot, so...
I mean, they shoot like 6 times a second.
Yeah,
so.
it's quite quick, but still. Very quick discussion point. What do you think about most air units shooting on the move?
I'm a fan.
Kind of am too. It feels very reasonable in a lot of cases.
Alright, quick expands, as has been the meta through every game except one.
Yep, and hey, look, quick expands were the meta in that game too, just half of them.
We do got to change up here. Armeria no longer with the Guardian Shield, going into the Hornet instead, so that they have a tier 1 anti-air unit that they can push across the map with.
Yep, that's, I think, a wise change. I think double Guardian Shield is just a bit too punishable in general. So
I agree.
there's nothing more to say about that.
Yeah, we got the quick techs coming out from all players, as we do see in most games. Sometimes some player will opt to take a third instead of taking tech right away, but more often than not, double tech into expand is the most common play. I'd like to see Shade and Armeria defend their third this time. It seems like they have learned from the previous game and don't want to just give up a base for nothing.
Yeah, and that was about as nothing as it got. I think it was 4 nights worth, so, 800 matter for 400 matter, 400 energy. Not ideal.
Yeah.
Third is
have
coming
the double
out.
expand coming out from Behemoth abusers, but afterMath also going to take a double expand.
Yeah, it's just a wee bit delayed.
Honestly, totally fine.
Yeah, tend to agree.
Because things happen immediately, like you immediately start tech, you immediately put down a base, I think it's very reasonable in a lot of cases to just give your opponent the initiative by a second or two and make the responsive decisions.
That's how I like to play as well.
Being base coming out from the albino.
Zerg player, I do not mind playing reactively. Very slightly, but sometimes it's fun just to say, here's my problem, answer it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, a couple of dragonflies, a couple of airships either side. So There's a little bit of anti-air mixed in from the side of aftermath to make sure that they can clear out these dragonflies. So a big microfight coming in with the Hornets trying to push back the anti-air from aftermath, but aftermath look like they're just kind of muscling through right now. The Scorpions being the only units really left on the side for the Behemoth users.
There's one heavy hunter in here, and it's very hard. I was even looking around for it. It's hard to pick it out in between all the knights, and so the heavy hunter actually let the dragonflies push through, or push back the dragonflies and allow the push to go through. And now all of a sudden, aftermath in a once again commanding position by just pushing with their knights and a quick, tier 2 kind of stuff. So they're really finding value where I'm just kind of shocked at where they're getting all of it from.
Yeah, we have Shade once again going into tier 3, probably the Locust transition once again. They really need to find a lot of damage off of this tier 3 advantage, as we have no tier 3 for anyone on the side of Aftermath quite yet, so they need to find something. Actually, opting to not go into any Locusts right away, instead popping out a couple of advanced destroyers, looking to win the ground fight this time, as they actually try to away a couple of knights near that 4th base.
Now, there are very few units that are objectively better in their variants in this game, but advanced mortars are one of them. They are objectively better than mortars, except for the tech level. But if you ever have like mortar and advanced mortar, it is literally always better to build advanced mortars. There is no case where they're not. These advanced destroyers are getting a lot of value for Shade here. So, this push is starting to kind of cook for the Behemoth abusers here. They're really starting to push through. What's the response from Theory and Albino? It is advanced destroyers and a big push through.
Yeah, and only being behind one base isn't that big of a position to be in. Armiri actually doing a really good job cutting off the reinforcements to the 3rd and getting a lot of free pickoffs.
Yeah. For reference,
that's really loud.
Yeah, advanced mortars are loud units. For reference, being up one base, like a 1/4 versus 2/3, is only about 10% income. So if you can just trade 10% more efficiently, you're functionally winning. And it sure seems like that's what Shade and Armeria are doing. They're getting really efficient trades against this Knight Core.
Yeah, the mortars haven't been able to find any hits onto the assault bots either. They're mostly fighting against Shade and Armeria's advanced destroyers, and advanced destroyers kill mortars for cost really efficiently.
I'm curious if Shade's going to go into a Locust switch at some point. That seems very logical given the composition right here. Boom, there it is, Locust switch. 10 Locusts are out. There are some heavy hunters out.
There's also one, I think, airship.
Yeah, and that might be enough.
Yeah, honestly, that was focused fire onto the
Advanced Destroyer, I think.
Yeah, Advanced Destroyer, thank you. And that caused the singular airship to take out like 4 Locusts, and that might be the difference maker actually in the overall fight.
Yeah, these Locusts increase in number a little bit. That's currently Shade's entire option. But I think the cat's out of the bag a little bit. Actually, there's still not comparatively much anti-air. There's still only what I believe to be 3 heavy hunters. This is not enough to defend. 3 more knights coming in, but they're not heavy hunters enough. And some mortars are getting picked off on the side. 4 heavy hunters
doing what they can to defend against the knight push, and that is going to be those knights taking out a bunch of advanced mortars. Locust doing a lot of damage in the back, picking off a lot of the anti-air, and that's giving an opportunity for Shade and Armeria to find some of the non-air units like those snipers. Heavy hunters come out and are going to push them away. That
was a huge trade up for Shade especially. Armeria is starting to become, I like to think of people as the like I have described it as the battering ram and the harassment tool. Shade has definitely been the harasser, and Armeria gearing up with mortar of Solbot. That is as battering ram as it gets in this game.
I do kind of wonder how long do you need this 10% income advantage before it really pays out. Because this base has been uncontested and unmatched for a very long time. It's finally going to go down now for the cost of approximately 1 Locust.
We will see how long it's worth. There's still not much anti-air out of here. Only 2 airships. Those are very diveable. And 5 heavy hunters. God, they are hard to spot in the Nightfall.
Yeah, Locusts are going to make a big dive onto the natural, though. They're going to focus down the first building and probably the second. Just the first before the airships are going to get here. And they get away totally scot-free. They could dive this, actually. They could trade efficiently into that airship fall.
I would call 2 units as a... Ooh! Locusts make a little bit of erroneous move on the map, and Shade is now down about half the Locusts there. That's going to be a big deal, but more Shades on the way, or more Locusts rather on the way. This Locust pressure continues to be extremely difficult as workers now packing up in the main. Teams are down to just 3 total bases here and 4 here, so now a 33% income advantage for the Behemoth abusers is significant.
It is. However, we have snipers now. Snipers do extremely well versus advanced mortars because they outrange them completely. Big flank coming in from the Locust, not going to commit to that fight because of the airships. However, they're going to focus down another base before the heavy hunters can get in, and they're going to fly away. Looks like they might even go into the natural once again.
Albino is now not mining, period, and can never mine again for the rest of this game, which is...
Theory, not mining. Cannot... no, still mining. Barely, but...
Theory is no longer mining for the rest of the game. So now, let's see how sudden death looks. 41% for Albino, 60% now for Shade and Armeria. There's no way to make this push any stronger. Shade and Armeria can sit on these advanced mortars and say we've won the game. You cannot push into this. There's no way.
Snipers can push into this, but they can't do it without support. They're gonna not get taken out by the assault bots, but they need to make this play a little bit faster, but the advanced mortars are making it impossible for the airships to get in range.
Yep.
I think it is all over but for the crime here for aftermath, as I think we're going to be going into our first Game 5.
Yeah, Game 5. Game 5. Let's go. We love Game 5.
Game 5, best game.
That is really solid. I'm a big fan of game number 5 here. Ooh, this is...
Yeah. I like that there wasn't a huge adjustment from either team. It was... the same decks, I believe. They just made a different decision to go into their techs, and they didn't abandon all of their Locusts early. And they found a lot of value with them over time, just constantly sort of teching between range and air, and they were able to outmaneuver their opponents and find big advantages with the base snipes.
Yeah,
very Pult-esque.
Yeah, I don't think maybe. I'm not sure exactly the decision-making process on aftermath that game, but they really didn't. It didn't feel like they respected the sheer number of locusts that were coming out. Their anti-air was definitely a little underwhelming through a lot of the game, so I'm not sure, what their response is going to be. I'll tell you, Predators would be a heck of a response.
Yeah, one Predator per worker line would have stopped all of those dives because Locust clumped so hard. But
yeah,
I don't know that they had access.
No, they don't have
their
it.
deck.
But
notable, we don't have everyone back in the game quite yet. I wonder if there's not a deck decision coming out from the side of Aftermath right now.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the really cool things about these series and everything is that you can just keep making little adjustments, see how your play goes, and then, refine for a long time. And, we'll see. This is what Albino can come up with. This is, as you mentioned, the first Game 5 that we're getting into, and making these decisions could be the difference between playing for a statue and a guaranteed t-shirt or just fighting for the third place prize. All right, Albino is in. Everybody's ready. We're going to get into game number 5 in our final semifinal match between Aftermath and Behemoth Abusers.
Immediate double expand from both teams once again. Looking at the decks, we now have artillery for Albino. I don't think we had that before.
Would have seen it for sure. It's a very good answer to what Shade and Armiria are bringing, which is double Assault Bot at the Advanced Foundry level.
Yes.
Not amazing against the Knights because they are the big units, which is why Knights are good, is that they scale better than any other unit into the mid-game. But that's going to be a really interesting matchup. And look, Predators. Theory has Predator Artillery on the Starforge.
Yes, so they really want to deal with this mass, small, clumpy units that we've seen so far from the Behemoth abusers.
AM, yeah, aftermath not going into Advanced Destroyers either. So they're going to rely on the snipers for that role, but they're in the opposite tech path.
Yeah. Both, we see AM once again sharking around the third. They found, obviously, that incredible value in Game 3, I believe it was. Shade and Armiria not letting them get away with that kind of play again. So they're going to get the nice defensive play. Both teams pretty much mirror builds coming out here. Expanding at the same time, teching at the same time. No one trying to tech when everybody else expands or vice versa quite yet.
Yep, so far pretty even. No imbalances on each side as far as resources and unit production are concerned. Bombers now, I believe, are a new unit to this, or we just weren't on that. No, we were on that path. Bombers will be available for Armiria.
I think Armiria had bombers, just never felt the need to tech into them, and immediately going once again onto tier 3, and Aftermath once again staying on tier 2.
Butterflies
maybe
out.
Looking for a big push.
Butterflies are out. Hornets are only now coming out as an anti-air response, but I don't think they'll be fast enough to save this base. They might be able to pick one off. Not even that. That's a big win already for Aftermath, but their mortar push gets crushed as a response, and now they're going to have to deal with the counterattack here against their own third base. They are at 45 combined bandwidth versus 60 for the Behemoth abusers. They're not going to push into it, though.
Shade going for an immediate fourth base while their tier 3 foundry is coming online. They'll have access to the Sniper Assault Bot combo once again, the Assault Bot being an unbelievably strong matter-only unit. I love seeing this just couple of Hornets mixed in when you have melee matter-only. It just lets you have a little bit of extra sustain in these fights.
Yeah,
So
I definitely like
that
that.
here. Theory also going for a fourth.
We don't have a fourth coming out from Armiria, though. It is just going to be the timing push. 5 advanced mortars coming out with the assault bots. That's been the bread and butter of Behemoth Abusers' gameplay right now, and they are going to stick to it as they have taken up siege and use that
to bludgeon down the fourth base. First for Albino, and then they're going to go in on Theory. They're not even going to try to make a defense in this base. That is 800 down the drain, as there's just not much that Theory and Albino can do versus these advanced mortars right now.
Yeah.
And the snipers even to take out the regular mortars to give them that range advantage. It's so good.
Insane. Meanwhile, though, look over here. Fourth base is going to go down for the Behemoth Abusers as the Butterflies are going to freely take that out. No response for Behemoth Abusers. They are just looking to make this push happen. They dive onto the exposed mortars and the snipers, take out 6 of them. The artillery is just standing around a little bit, not actually participating in this fight with their slightly shorter range. Third base is now in jeopardy for Aftermath, both of them extremely low in the advance. Mortars are going to go ahead and take them out.
Yeah, the Knights couldn't rally in time to make anything significant happen. I think maybe if Aftermath got their Butterflies into the fight a little bit sooner, they could have done something to turn, because there's no... And I forgot that the advanced mortars are anti-air, but they're also big, so Butterflies do very well into them.
These advanced mortars are creating so much value. The long-range sniper advanced mortar combo is pushing through. There are 140 deploy, and Behemoth Abusers take out Aftermath in the contention for the first place prize.
That is our first seeding upset of the the match and of the tournament rather, and that was, I would say, definitely the closest match we had, both because it went to 5 games and also so many of the games were just really back and forth.
Oh boy, that was... I'm really liking these semifinals matches. Really have delivered. It's really cool to see how these teams are adapting and evolving their strategies and all sorts of things. It's really, really, really cool. I have so much to say, but we also need to get set up for our next match. It's going to be the 3rd and 4th place match between afterMath that you just saw and Team Gouda. So let us get that set up, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes.